Halo guys, kembali lagi di channel BadRush. Jadi hari ini kita tunda dulu untuk thank you-nya karena ada update baru lagi, atau lebih tepatnya ada event baru lagi guys. Dan ini event yang cukup panjang karena ini event story quest ya. Seperti yang terakhir itu kita event festival apa ini namanya ya, event festival yang poem, oke, di UA sama di Mondstadt itu ya. Nah sekarang ada event di Fontaine, dan di sini udah jelas kalau kayak gini udah waktunya 17 hari, lama 2 minggu lebih. Tapi ntar gue uploadnya paling ya udah jalan seminggu baru gue upload ini. Cuman ini baru hari pertama dia muncul pas gue record, so kita akan mainkan seperti biasa. Kita akan selesaikan dulu story questnya, baru setelah kalau story questnya udah kelar baru kita cobain mini gamesnya. Oke, seperti event-event gede yang kemarin-kemarin ya. Pokoknya event kalau yang ada story questnya panjang gini, kita selesaiin story questnya dulu baru kita cobain mini gamesnya. Oke, so biar nggak terlalu lama langsung aja kita mainkan, kita ikutin storynya lah ya. Let's go. Dan ini ada hubungannya sama free minute, dan ntar juga bakal dapat free minute. Gue juga udah dapat sih. Jadi kalau ada yang pengen free minute tapi belum dapat di gacha sebelumnya, kalian bisa dapetin di event ini gitu. Mungkin ini ya pasti ntar akan banyak mini games yang soal menyelam sih, soalnya kan tokohnya free minute ya. So kita lihat dulu ceritanya soal apa, baru ntar setelah selesai storynya seperti biasa kita baru akan mainkan mini gamesnya. Oke, so ini part 1. Kita lihat kita ngapain, dan ini apa, bukan festival tapi ini ya. Kalau yang terakhir itu kan festival apa namanya, festival puisi lah ya, yang kita akhirnya mempertemukan kembali Oceanid. Dan itu sebelum masa sebelum Fontaine keluar udah Fontaine kan, apa sebelum? Kok gue lupa anjir, saya ingat gue itu guys. Oke, kita ke Fishing Association. Anjay. Oke, kita ketemu sama si Dilarohe. Oh, nggak mulai-mulai, wih. Malah ngebug karena
that can't be right. Oh, but what if they're real after all? No.
Akhirnya Dilarohe bersuara ya.
What if there's a chance?
Greetings, miss. Is there something that's bothering you?
Oh, no, it's nothing. I'm Della Roche, the representative of the Fontaine Fishing Association. How can I help you? Oh, so you're adventurers. Oh, finally. Someone has heard my prayers.
Paimon can tell you were really bothered by something. Don't worry, you've got 2 super experienced adventurers right here. We'll take care of anything and everything for you as long as you pay us a little bit of mora.
Oh, you are exactly the helpers I need. See, the problem is that the fish around a fishing spot at Araneus have just all up and vanished recently.
Tiba-tiba hilang
They disappeared
ikannya.
too quickly
What?
for it to have been the work of human anglers. As the representative of the Fishing Association, I had planned to go and investigate the area right away. Right, but unfortunately, as the representative of the Fishing Association, there are a few other errands that I absolutely have to run. So
you'd like us
Kita
to
suruh
investigate
investigasi.
this spot for you?
exactly, you're right on the Mora. So I thought I could delegate this work to you. Are you two some kind of prophets, knowing exactly what I was going to say like that? Or maybe like the oracles you read about in fairy tales?
Yeah, we're just really experienced in this kind of thing, that's all.
Well, I'm glad to hear it. I'll get a good night's sleep knowing the two of you are on the case.
But don't we just need to investigate the missing fish? It really doesn't sound too difficult.
No, you mustn't let your guard down. As the representative of the Fishing
Water
Association,
imps.
I have good reason to believe that
Apa
the
itu?
fish have gone missing due to an encounter with the water imps. Yes, you're both Outlanders, right? Our local fairy tales
Itu
often
kayak
speak of a
Fin gitu ya guys.
terrifying
Ya,
underwater
setan
creature
gitu
called
ya.
Velxi. The story our parents would tell us was
Jadi
always the same.
Dilarohe mengira mungkin ada yang ganggu ikan-ikannya sehingga ikan-ikannya pada hilang. Oh, atau kalau nggak dimakan
Eating
itu.
water imp? Did they tell you what it looked like?
My My father would always describe it as a beautiful,
Snake
multicolored
woman.
snake woman,
Oh.
while my mother said it had a handsome face.
Tapi kalau ibunya
It's
ngomong
really strange,
handsome.
though, because you'd also
Jadi
hear
mungkin
other
bisa
people describe it
berubah-berubah
as
ya.
just a chubby penguin with a deceptive appearance. Even though
Tapi
the
ada yang bilang
tales
cuma
vary regarding
kayak
its
pinguin,
appearance,
what?
everyone agrees that
Berarti
it's really
bentuknya
dangerous.
beda-beda,
It
guys.
lives in an underwater cave surrounded by pallid bones and uses its sensitive nose to track down lonely children who've lost their way. And once it finds a child, it uses its alluring singing voice to lure them into the water before swallowing them whole. Pretty terrifying, isn't it?
Sounds kinda scary. But isn't that pretty normal for a fairy tale? After all, those kinds of stories are usually made up to help keep children away from danger.
But what if the fairy tale was inspired by a real-life tale? Just like how a water vein always has a source. Well, I wouldn't call it evidence per se, but I've heard some rumors lately. They say that someone recently saw a child walk into the water as if he was possessed by something. Doesn't that sound just like he was responding to the call of a water imp?
So you mean someone really got eaten by a water imp?
It's all hearsay, so it's hard to confirm. But still, they all say this happened on Irenaeus. That's no laughing matter if you ask me. Both the Opera House and the Fountain of Lucine were built there, and the sources of many water veins can be traced to the island as well. Combine that with the mysterious mist, the huge tree with expansive underground roots, and the rumor that the fish apes on the island can understand human language. Is it really so shocking that an island so shrouded in mystery could harbor a terrifying water imp as well?
Why does Paimon feel like you're pulling our leg? You're just piling on the rumors now. Still, if someone's really been hurt, then we can't just ignore the situation, right, Traveler?
Oh,
Kita akan
marvelous.
ngecek,
Then
oke.
I'll just mark the stretch of water on your map. Don't forget that no matter what, safety always comes first.
Mungkin di sini kita bakal ketemu Freminet juga ya. Oke. So, kita akan mengecek apakah beneran ada water imp di tempat yang udah ditunjuk sama Delaroche. Jadi ikan-ikan di sana pada hilang, guys. Jadi pada ngelapor ke Delaroche tempat-tempat fishing, spot-spot fishingnya kok yang biasanya dipenuhi ikan, kok ikannya pada kabur. Terus muncullah rumor kalau itu disebabkan sama water imp tadi yang bentuknya bisa berubah-ubah, guys. So, selain sini kita perlu ngecek karena ya seperti biasa Delaroche sibuk, dari kita yang diputus ya untuk ngecek ada apa di sini.
Is this the
Oke. Terus katanya ada bocah juga yang ini ya,
look pretty fresh.
ya
Did
kan,
the water imp get
yang
someone
masuk ke
again?
air katanya.
Let's look around and see if we can find anything else.
Terus kayak kesurupan gitu, jadi dipanggil-panggil nggak nengok-nengok itu.
Wait, did you hear something just now?
Apa itu? Oh, yang keluar Freminet anjir.
What is that? Don't come any closer!
Paimon? Traveler?
Freminet?
I'm sorry. I forgot I was still wearing this.
Tuh kan itu Freminet.
Fremine!
Paimon, are you okay?
Freminet.
Paimon nearly mistook you for a water imp. Thank goodness it was just you wearing your helmet.
Huh? A water imp? Thelxie, you say? How surprising.
Huh? You know that name too? Or do you know someone else who's trying to investigate the water imp?
No, I think our situations are probably unrelated. Sure, if that's in order. I know the name because of one of my employers. She noticed the clockwork penguins I brought to the workshop and contacted me through the shop's owner. She has commissioned me to make a special toy. Following her request, I've named the toy Thelxie.
Dinamain Thelxie
But isn't
mainannya.
it a little creepy to name a toy after a water imp? Wait, hold on! Fremine, you never take commissions from other people!
Yeah, but She made a special request, but out of respect for her privacy, I can't really talk about it. It's alright though. She'll be coming over to check on my progress shortly, and I'll just tell her that you're two of my trustworthy companions. Hearing that, she might be willing to share some information, and you'll be able to continue with your investigation.
Oke, jadi yang nyuruh Freminet bakal datang juga. Jadi ntar biar dia yang cerita ke kita gitu. Kenapa dinamain sama dengan water imp itu permainannya.
The fish?
Kita cerita.
I think I may have connected the dots. These past few weeks, I've been taking Thelxie for underwater testing every day. The pressure testing makes a lot of noise. So, all that about the disappearing fish, well, it was probably because of me.
Oke, jadi mungkin kan kabur gara-gara dia ngetes mainannya gitu. Oke.
Wait, so could that mean the child we heard about who walked into the water was also...
Jangan-jangan itu Freminet.
I think that's quite likely as well.
Bocah yang nyebur ke laut itu si Freminet anjir.
All this time imagining what a water imp from the fairy tales might look like, and it all turns out to be just a hoax.
I'm sorry. It sounds like I've created a lot of trouble for everyone else as well. I'll try to finish this commission as soon as possible. Once I'm done, the fish should come back. Thanks for offering, but I can't trouble you any more than I already have.
Hey, it's no trouble at all. Didn't you just call us your trustworthy companions? Companions are all about helping each other, you know?
But don't you need to report back to your commissioner?
Nope, that's not how it works. See, Paimon's got these commissioner types all figured out, even though we were just tasked with finding out why the fish had gone missing. If we tell them now that it was all just a misunderstanding, you can bet they'd just immediately hand us another commission to help them get the fish back. Exactly! So if we can help you finish up your work and get the fish back, that would save us an extra trip!
Is that what you'd like to do as well? Huh.
Daripada kita balik cuma ngelaporin gitu, ntar kita disuruh lagi ke sini buat balikin ikan-ikannya, mending kita selesaiin sekalian, biar ikan-ikannya balik sekalian gitu loh. Ini nggak cuma sekedar menginvestigasi gitu.
I've stored Thelxie in the tent. He can respond to some simple verb.
Oke. Ada catatan-catatan. Tunggu guys, kalau mau dibaca gue skip aja lah ya.
Wow, sounds pretty.
Oke, kita ngobrol sama Thelxie.
So that's Fremine's version of Thelxie. It's also penguin-shaped, just like Pear.
Yep. Had Thelxie lived in Penguin Town, he'd probably have become great friends with Pear. It's not really anywhere famous or important. Don't worry about it.
Hey, Thelxie. Nice to meet you. Do you know how to say hello?
I wanted to install a language output module, but due to time constraints, I had to give up on the idea. As it stands, Thelxie can only output messages that were pre-written into its motherboard. I haven't given him the ability to convert those messages into discernible words, so he can't really talk to us just yet.
No need to get so technical. So basically, you want us to help you complete and install this language module, right?
No, there's no need. That wasn't one of my employer's requests. It was just something I wanted to try. I have two other things I'd like your help with. The first is to do some integration testing on Thelxie's motherboard, to make sure he will be able to function properly in most situations.
That doesn't sound too hard. And what's the other thing?
The other shouldn't take too long either. You'll need to find Thelxie some colorful shells and coral, so I can
bikin
craft a
senjata
weapon for
buat
him.
Thelxie ya.
A weapon? Will Thelxie have to fight?
Thelxie will need to be able to charge forward with a weapon in hand, like that brave prince of legend. It's a part of my employer's request.
What an imaginative employer! Naming Folksy after a water imp, but wanting him to look like a prince?
Well, regardless of his role
Jangan-jangan
or
employernya
species,
pernah lihat Elsie yang asli,
purpose is
guys,
the same.
mungkin.
Just like Pear, he has come to this world to serve as somebody's companion.
Whoa, Folksy just said something again! Could he understand what we were just talking about?
He can react to certain key words, but unfortunately, due to the lack of a translation module, he still can't quite communicate with us.
That's a pity. But anyway, the most important thing right now is for us to get to work. Maybe let's start by doing some testing on the motherboard. That sounds like something we can do here in the camp.
Sounds good. The motherboard is on my workbench, so please follow me. Ah, here we go. I have this testing manual, so feel free to reference it if you get stuck. Want to give it a try? It's okay if you don't succeed immediately. I've got a lot of backup boards just in case. Okay, knowing you, I'm sure you'll be able to figure it out.
Oke, kita disuruh ngapain nih? Langsung mini games, apa enggak? Enggak sih guys, so langsung aja kita coba. Oke. Connect deh. Hah? Oh? What? Oh, suruh nyampe ke situ kan? Oke. Ini cara. Oke. Oh, ditarik aja gitu ya. Gini kan? Oke, it's easy peasy, cuma suruh bikin jalur, guys. Oke. Udah kelar nih.
You're doing well. Just as
Mungkin
I
itu
expected.
ini guys, salah satu
Figured out a
mini
lot of
gamesnya
similar
mungkin.
tasks before, you know.
Then let's move on to the underwater part. It's just as I mentioned earlier. We're after colorful shells and coral. Oh, speaking of which, you're both already pretty used to Fontaine's underwater environment, right? Okay, that's good. Just let me know if you ever feel uncomfortable. I'll make sure to stay right by your side.
Oke, kita akan nyebur ya berarti ya. Mencari ini kan, koral kan. Wah, lumayan jauh anjir. Nyebur aja kalau jauh. Lagu di pelabuhan situ ya bagus guys, beda dengan yang lain. Masih ada item. Item peti
It
anjir.
should be right over there. We'll be able to find something that'll help us with our... This is it.
Oke.
We call this thing an echoing conch. It can...
Oke,
Did
kita
you
cari
notice any
material.
interesting places?
Oke.
The echoing conch should have detected some just now. Let's go check them out.
Cuma gitu doang, oke.
Alright.
Let's go back. Kita ambil koral-koral buat bikin senjatanya si Tersi. Anjir, eventnya di sini jauh juga. Duh, ini employernya ini dia. Yang ada di ini ya, di banner eventnya ya. Di banner eventnya, nah ini dia. Surya Destri namanya. Lagi
Fremine,
nyanyi
you're
anjir.
back. I thought you might have been out diving.
I'm sorry, Madame Destray. I must have kept you waiting. I can report, though, that the construction of Thelxie is going quite smoothly.
There's no rush. I'm your employer, not your supervisor. And these two are...
Oh, they're two of my trustworthy companions. They're here to help me work on Thelxie.
Yes, I see. I suppose it's only natural for someone responsible like you to have some reliable friends.
It's really nice to meet you, Madame Destray. Are you Fremine's employer? Paimon is Paimon, and this is the Traveler.
Greetings, my new friends. Just call me Zuria. You are both so adorable. The sight of you reminds me of little fairies under a cottage roof.
Oh, do you really think so?
Of course. If my child had friends like you, then perhaps he wouldn't have become so obsessed with the tales of water imps. And I wouldn't have had to trouble Fremine here with this commission.
Oh, yang minta itu bocah
The tales
anaknya.
of water imps?
Ah, so you don't know anything about my request yet? I would have thought Fremine had explained it to you already.
Well, Fremine told us that it was a private matter, so he didn't want to just share it willy-nilly.
I see. So Monsieur Fremine is even more discreet than I had thought. As you are assisting him with the project, I believe it'll be beneficial for you to learn more about its vision and history. But it would be quite impolite of me to simply pile all of my troubles on you without your permission. So, would you like to listen to my story?
Sure, you can tell us anything. You've already said nice things about us, so we'll try our best to help you get through your troubles.
Ah, what a lovely little fairy. And let me think of a way to put my situation into words. I'm sure you're already familiar with the tale of the water imps, right? Simply put, parents came up with a story, painting water imps as scary abductors in an effort to convince their children to stay away from the water. My child is rather special, however. While most other children are terrified of Thelxie,
Okay.
he's infatuated with him.
Infatuated? With a water imp? What a brave soul.
Yes, he told me that he thought the water imp might have just been misunderstood. In his mind, instead of singing to abduct children, the water imp actually sang out of a longing for companionship. As a result, he often goes near the water in secret.
Huh. So he wanted to become friends with the water imp so it wouldn't be lonely any longer? What a unique way of thinking.
Thank you, little Paimon. He indeed has always stood out from the crowd. He was actually diagnosed with loneliness syndrome when he was only 8 years old.
No, loneliness syndrome.
It's a type of mental disorder. Those affected by it often feel extremely lonely and lose interest in many mundane activities. The syndrome is probably what made him so determined to become friends with the water imp.
Oh no. Is it a very serious disorder?
If you were to become afflicted with the disorder, Paimon, you would only be able to say less than a fraction of the words you're saying to the Traveler now.
No! Paimon won't accept that! We would have to find a doctor to help cure Paimon. Paimon has a 2,000-word quota for daily conversations with the Traveler, and she won't settle for a single word less!
The family doctor has already begun to treat my son, but since the disorder is rare, there aren't many good regimens for treatment. He's also developed some new symptoms lately, such as uncontrollable delusions.
Anjir, berdelusi jo anaknya.
Uncontrollable what now?
Uncontrollable delusions. To put it simply,
Dia
he
nggak
can
bisa
no longer
membedakan
differentiate
fantasi dan
between
realitas
fantasy
lagi.
and reality,
Oke.
and spends all his time in his fantasy world.
Then what is he seeing in his fantasy world?
It's a dream that he often mentioned to me when he was younger. I've compiled what I could understand of his recent rambling. It goes a bit like this.
Oke. Ya intinya nyeritain water imp lah ya ini apa mimpinya gitu loh, atau dunia fantasi anaknya gitu loh. Kalau ada yang mau baca silahkan di pause dulu guys. Gua langsung aja sih.
Amazing. Your son came up with all of this? He really crafted a lovely fairy tale world for Thelxie. It's like a beautiful dream.
Nah, makanya terus
But
bikin
perhaps
mainan
no
itu.
beautiful dream can ever last
Ya kan?
long. You see, the story ended with a twist.
Oke. Terus diserang monster. Bla.
How could the story end like this?
Tuh langsung hujan pula.
Is that kind of fantasizing what caused your son to develop his loneliness syndrome?
Well, it'd be more accurate to say that it was the syndrome that caused such terrible delusions to manifest. But in any case, the biggest problem is the patient eventually loses themselves to the fantasy world of their own creation.
My poor child can no longer differentiate between imagination and reality. He's begun to see himself as Thelxie.
Anjir, dia menganggap dirinya Thelxie.
Perhaps in his mind, the loneliness
Nah,
he
itu mah
felt
dibawa
became
ke
the same as that of a
RSC, Bu.
prince who lost everything he ever loved or stood for.
Itu mah udah kena ini guys, apa
So
namanya?
that's what you meant by uncontrollable
Kena gangguan
delusions.
kejiwaan anjir.
Then we have to help him snap out of it.
Alas, most of the time he acts as if he can no longer sense or interact with the real world at all. I've had several discussions with the doctor, and we think it is best to try to guide his fantasy. He once wanted to
Mengarahkan
make a picture book
fantasinya
of his
biar balik ke
imaginary
dunia
world,
asli ya.
but since the disorder progressed too quickly, he never quite got past the first page of the book. If we could use this book as a breakthrough for his condition. Here, you can take a look.
Kasih buku cerita soal ini
So
ya.
Zuri's son also
Soal
saw Thelxie as
Thelxie,
a
ya.
penguin. Oh, he looks so sad.
What we should do now is help him complete this picture book. However, we'll lead the story to a different ending. One where the water imprince is eventually able to restore his kingdom with the help of his friends. We'll need to chase away his loneliness and sorrow, and let him perceive a world full of hope again. That's what I mean by guiding his fantasy.
But if we just need to finish the picture book, why does Femine need to make a Thelxie as well?
Because we need to treat the book story seriously, as if it's a history of things that have really
Jadi
happened.
kita harus bikin
We'll need to go on a journey like
realitas
Thelxie
mungkin ya
and help him
ceritanya ya.
regain his crown and country. But my child can no longer go on a journey of his own. This is why I commissioned Femine here to craft a Thelxie, and then I'll paint the journey with this Thelxie into the picture book.
Ah, like a stand-in for your son. I'm starting to get it now. Oh, you really put a lot of thought into this, Zuria. Paimon still has one question, though. Where will we be able to find a Water Imp Kingdom?
There are some ruins on the seabed of the Salacia Plains. I've already asked Femine to research them for me. We'll be able to use one of the ruins as the kingdom.
Oh, so we'll just need to act out a performance of...
Jadi kita bikin kayak drama
a
gitu.
brave journey through the Kingdom of Water Imps. As long as we chase away the monsters in the ruins, it'll count as chasing away the monsters in the Water Imp Kingdom, right?
Sadly, no. We won't just be putting on a performance. It's just as Zuria said. We need to take this seriously.
Kita tapi harus
And the only way we can
serius.
take this
Maksudnya
seriously is
anggap
if we choose to
ini
believe everything
kenyataan
that's
gitu loh.
happening is real.
Oke.
So
Ya intinya
we'll be playing it straight, or, making it a fully immersive experience?
ya intinya buat
Neither of those
ngadarin
really
anaknya lah
sound
ya.
right.
Kita berdrama lah, tapi harus drama dengan serius anjir.
It's all right. There's no need to get that serious. It's not a big deal. I believe in my son. We can just see this as him wanting to stay asleep for a bit longer, because he's so enamored with his dream.
Zuria.
Keep your spirits up, everyone. If we were to look troubled, my son is sure to become anxious as well. I should be heading back right about now to check on my son. We temporarily moved to a place on the hill over there, so my son will have a better spot to
Pindah sana
convalesce.
untuk sementara ya.
It's not far from the water, and there's also a great view.
Wah,
Feel
di
free to
Surya ini
come
orang
find me if
kaya
anything
ini.
urgent comes up.
Understood. There's also one last thing. Since these two friends were able to help me out, I've made some more progress on Thelxie. I estimate that he should be ready sometime tomorrow.
That's great news. I must thank you all. With that in mind, how about we meet here in 2 days' time to head to the Kingdom of Water Imps? All right, everyone. Let's meet again in another 2
Oke,
days.
kita ketemu lagi 2 hari lagi.
Zarya
Dan
sure
ini
is
mungkin
a
akan
brave and
mengakhiri part
optimistic
1 ya,
lady.
jadi kita tahu backgroundnya
Do you
lah ya.
think her plan will work out?
Let's discuss that over by the tent. There were a few things that I didn't bring up because the madame was here.
Oke, jadi anaknya kena penyakit gitulah ya. Kena penyakit delusi, yuk. Kena penyakit waham itu mah kalau kata tretan muslim
What is it,
anjir.
Femine? What did you want to say?
If you don't mind me asking, I would like the
Oke,
two
kita
of you
sudah
to mentally
mempersiapkan
prepare
mental.
yourselves.
Untuk apa?
This is the first time that you've met anyone with the syndrome, right? I know you two are both really strong and will do everything you can to help the child. But with the syndrome being the way it is, if things don't quite turn out as we wish, I hope you'll be able to accept the outcome and not put too much blame on yourselves.
Femine, why do you bring this up all of a sudden? Didn't we just promise Zarya that we'll be optimistic about everything working out?
It's not that I'm not optimistic. It's just...
Ah, so that's why you looked like you knew exactly what she was talking about. Wait, Fremine, don't tell Paimon that you also...
No.
Kirain
Please don't
Frame juga
misunderstand.
pernah kena anjir.
I've never
Kena
had it.
sindrom ini juga.
I've just seen many cases of it at the House of the
Dia pernah
Hearth.
lihat kasus
Back
yang
when we
sama
lived under
gitu.
the previous director. They say there are many factors surrounding the development of this illness. I've heard everything from hereditary factors and one's state of mind to environmental factors and even ley line disorder effects. Some even say it could be caused by contamination from god remains. And from the cases I've seen, there weren't many positive outcomes.
Oke.
In the worst
Jadi
cases,
sebenarnya Frame juga
the
pernah
patient could
lihat
even...
banyak sindrom ini gitu loh.
What?
Dan banyak yang
Get
meninggal
that
anjir.
serious? And here Paimon thought they just stopped talking as much.
Yeah, that's just the nature of it. So, if you'll find it difficult to cope with the worst case scenario, I would prefer that you back out right now. I don't want you to help only to feel like you failed.
Hey, now's not the time to be joking around. Don't worry, Fremine. No matter how hard it might get, we'll be able to handle it.
Really? Then in that case, let's see this real-life fantasy adventure together to the end.
Yeah! But Paimon has a question. If this illness can really be as bad as you've described, then do you really think Zuria's method will be able to help? After all, we'll just be using a toy as Thelxie and some ruins as the Kingdom of Water Imps. The whole adventure will only be turned into a picture book for her son to read.
Well, I think it should be able to do something. To harbor a fantasy means that the child wants to save himself somehow. The only reason he's allowed his dream kingdom to fall is because he's lost control of his heart. But if we can help him regain control and escape from the darkness, we'll be able to change his world. Like helping someone who's lost their voice be able to speak again.
Oh, Paimon sees what you're saying now. Huh. How do you understand all of this so well, Fremine?
Well, maybe because I've also had many of my own dreams in the past. I even had my own fairy tale world, much like that boy's.
Tapi ya
I was
Frame
able to
sering
draw a lot of
berfantasi
support from
gitu.
it. So I believe in the power of fantasy worlds. So you remembered.
What Penguin Town? What does a Paimon remember? Is that also a fairy tale world? Don't leave Paimon in the dark! Hey, why did you put that on?
It's just one of my personal quirks. Please pay it no mind. Anyway, Penguin Town is a peaceful place with lots of penguin residents. They're all really good at making clockwork toys. And Pear is the town's triumphant hero, as well
Lagi
as the one who
berfantasi
quietly
Framenet, anjir.
protects the whole place.
Pear? But didn't you make Pear yourself?
Well, I often think that Pear only came to me because he realized how much I needed him. So it's not so much that I made Pear, as Pear chose me as his friend.
Fremine, are you sure you're not losing control of your fantasies as well?
No, I don't think so. I can still differentiate between
Tapi mungkin
fantasy
dia
and
Framenet mungkin dulu
reality.
pernah kena
I just
penyakit
believe
itu
that
juga
the
sih
fairy
guys.
tale world of
Tapi dia
my
bisa sembuh,
dreams
mungkin
must
ya.
also exist somewhere. It might just be hidden, which
At
is
least
why
sekarang
it's
dia
difficult to
tetap
see.
masih bisa bedain dunia
Or
fantasi
it will
sama
only
dunia
reveal
nyata gitu
itself
loh.
at very specific times.
Specific times? Like when you put on your diving helmet?
Yeah, that's the general idea of it.
Really? I just said that because you put on your helmet.
Have you ever observed the surface world from underwater? It's as if you're viewing a whole different world from the outside. It's a very surreal feeling, both alienating, but also as if you're being protected by something. I have a similar feeling when I put on my diving helmet. In those moments, it's possible to see some truly wondrous things, as if a fairy tale has become reality. It's almost like a sort of miracle.
Really? Like a miracle?
Well, if that's in order.
Hey, now's not the time! Fremine still has Thelxie's weapon to make. We don't want to bother him now.
Right. I still have to collect some tools I'll need to craft the weapon. I've got to finish everything before tomorrow. Thank you for reminding me, Paimon. I'm sure there'll be other opportunities for you to try my helmet. Thanks for all of your help. I'll be off for now.
Oke, kita akan ketemu
Let's
lagi
meet
2
up
hari
here
lagi
again
ya.
in 2 days.
Oke, dan part 1 sudah kelar, dan part 1 adalah background dari ceritanya ya. Jadi employer yang minta yang minta Framenet kerja ini minta bikinin mainan penguin, karena Thelxie kalau dari bayangan anaknya tadi yang kena sindrom tadi memang bentuknya penguin dan ya punya dunia sendirilah. Dan anaknya berpikir kalau water imp-nya itu sebenarnya nggak jahat gitu loh. Sebenarnya dia itu cuma kesepian segala macam, terus bikin cerita sendiri di dunia fantasinya. Tapi kan tuh dunia fantasinya anaknya ya gitu loh. Dan kita nggak tahu ntar sebenarnya apakah water imp beneran ada apa enggak, itu kan masih jadi legenda doang gitu loh guys. Nah mungkin ntar akan diketahui faktanya apakah itu asli apa enggak. Tapi kalau dari cerita-cerita gini sih plot twistnya ntar water imp paling beneran ada dan bentuknya emang beneran penguin sih paling gitu. Oke, jadi seperti itu. Jadi di sini ceritanya kita tadi diminta di Larohe untuk mengetahui kenapa ikan-ikan pada lari. Dan kita tahu ternyata ikan-ikan pada lari gara-gara si Framenet lagi percobaan mainannya ya. Terus bocah yang yang nyemplung ke laut itu ternyata si Framenet. Dia pakai helm, makanya dia nggak dengar suara orang-orang gitu loh. Jadi dikira si bocah itu atau si Framenet itu ke dalam laut itu gara-gara kesurupan si water imp, padahal enggak, itu itu Framenet lagi pengen nyoba mainannya gitu. Dan terus kita ketemu tadi si ibu, siapa tadi namanya, Surya ya kalau nggak salah, ibu dari anaknya yang sakit itu. Terus ya itu tadi katanya kena sindrom tadi, dan cara memulihkannya adalah salah satunya itu tadi guys, kita ya dia bilang sih kita harus serius ya dalam berdrama. Jadi ntar kita bikin drama terus membawa dia kembali dari dunia fantasi ke dunianya yang asli, biar bisa bedain dunia fantasi sama dunia yang asli lagi gitu sih guys. Oke, so seperti itu aja yang gue tangkap. Kalau ada tambahan silahkan di komen, besok akan kita lanjutkan lagi dan kita akan bertemu 2 hari lagi. Seperti biasa, seperti yang gue bilang tadi ya, kita akan selesaiin world quest-nya dulu. Oke, ada 3 part, jadi kita selesaiin dulu ini Setelah ini kelar baru kita cobain beberapa world quest-nya ya. Ada 3 world quest, 3 mini games. So bisa akan kita cobain ya, dan yang ini belum kebuka. Yang 2 ini udah kebuka, tapi seperti biasa lah ya guys, kita selain ceritanya dulu terus kita cobain semua mini gamesnya. Oke. So sampai bertemu lagi 2 hari lagi, jadi mungkin besok akan buat selain Tenju dulu, habis itu Genshin lagi. Kalau enggak mungkin Genshin world quest dulu, world quest yang lain baru ntar story quest lagi. Oke. So sampai jumpa besok guys, and have a good day. Bye bye.